Hello students, welcome back to the new session of mathematics. In the last video we learned about ratio and proportion and unitary method. Today we will be learning about a different branch of mathematics that is known as geometry. So in today's class we will learn about chapter 10, basic geometrical ideas. This is the mind map for today's class. In this session we will learn about a point and two types of point, that are collinear and non-collinear points. Then we will learn about what is a line and four types of lines, that is intersecting, concurrent, parallel and perpendicular lines. Then we will learn about line segments and how to measure and compare these line segments. We will have a quick explanation about the topic of ray and plane. Then we will learn about angles, and under angles we will learn about interior and exterior of an angle, magnitude of an angle and types of angles. We will also learn how to measure and compare these angles and how to express angles in terms of direction and revolution. Then we will move on to the topic of curves, and under curves we will learn about simple and complex curves, open and closed figures formed by these curves, and also about linear and curvilinear boundaries. So students, let's start the session by learning about the topic point. So here you can see that in this box I have placed 2 points, that is point A and point B. Can you tell me where are these points placed in this box, or what is the position of these points? Yes, you can say that point A is placed on the top right of this box and point B is placed at bottom left. So this means that a point has a fixed location. It does not have a length, width or depth, and we can name a point by using a single capital letter of the English alphabet. Now let's learn about two types of points, that are collinear and non-collinear points. First, let's understand the meaning of collinear. Collinear is made by two words, co and linear. Co means together and linear means in a straight line. So collinear points means that when three or more points lie on a straight line. So here we can say that point P, point Q and point R are collinear points. Now what are non-collinear points? Non-collinear points is the opposite of collinear points. That is when three or more points do not lie on the straight line. So here you can say that point Y and point Z lie on the straight line, but point X is outside this line. So we can say that point X, point Y and point Z are non-collinear points. We learned what is a point. Now let's learn what is a line. A line is formed by a collection of two or more points. So here you can see that point A, point B and point C and point D are forming the line AD. Now how do we name a line? A line can be named using any two names of the points on this line, or you can also name a line using a small letter of the English alphabet. Now, since we represent a line using two arrows at both the ends, this means that the line can be extended endlessly in both the directions. Now, if the line can be extended endlessly, it concludes that a line has no fixed length. We can name the line in any order. Like here I have named the line as AD. You can also name this line as DA. The order doesn't matter when you are naming a line. Now let's learn about the four types of lines, that are intersecting lines, concurrent lines, perpendicular lines and parallel lines. Let's start by learning about intersecting lines. Now what happens when two lines meet each other at a common point? These lines are known as intersecting lines. So here you can see that line AB and line PQ are meeting at a common point O. Now what is this common point known as? This point is known as the point of intersection. Now what happens when three or more lines meet each other at a common point? These lines are known as concurrent lines. So here you can see that line PQ, line RS and line UV are meeting each other at a point X. Now what is this point known as? This point is known as the point of concurrence. So in intersecting lines, the common point is known as point of intersection, and in concurrent lines, the common point is known as the point of concurrence. Now what are perpendicular lines? When two intersecting lines meet each other at a right angle, that is they form a 90-degree angle, they are known as perpendicular lines. we use this symbol to denote perpendicular lines. So here you can see that JK is perpendicular to LM. Now what are parallel lines? When two lines never meet each other, even if they are increased indefinitely from both the sides, they are known as parallel lines. The distance between the parallel lines always remains constant or same. Now we use the symbol of two vertical lines to denote parallel lines. So here we can say that EF is parallel to MN. Now what is the example of perpendicular lines? Have you noticed the walls of your room? The edges of those walls form perpendicular lines. Now look around yourself and find few more examples. What is the example for parallel lines? Have you noticed the railway tracks? Yes, that is an example of parallel lines. Also notice your ruler or scale. The edges of the scale never meet each other. So that is also an example of parallel lines. Now let's learn about a line segment. A line segment is a part of line with two endpoints. Now since a line segment has two fixed endpoints, that means it has a definite measure and we can measure a line segment. So here I have two line segments AB and PQ. Now how can we measure a line segment? We can measure a line segment using a ruler. Now you have seen your ruler, it has two edges, right? And both the edges have different markings. One side is divided into centimeter and the other side is divided into inches. Now we can also measure a line segment using a divider. So this is a divider. It is similar to a compass, but here in a divider there are two needles. Now how do we measure a line segment using a divider? First, place one end of the divider or one needle of the divider at one point. Next, place the other end on the second point. So here you have got a certain measure. Now place your scale on your notebook and place one end or one needle on 0 and the other needle on the other part. Now wherever the second needle lies, that is the measure of that line segment. So students, here I have two line segments AB and PQ. Now how will you tell that which line segment is greater? Yes, the length of AB and PQ will decide which line segment is greater. So the idea of length is used to compare two line segments. Now how do we compare line segments? There are three methods of comparing a line segment. First by observation, second by tracing, and third by measuring. Now let's learn about the first method, that is observation. Now here you have two line segments XY and LN, right? Now can you observe carefully and tell me which line segment is greater? Yes, we can say that XY is greater than LM. We can use the method of observation only when there is a vast difference in the length of the two line segments. But what if the line segments appear to be equal? For example, here in the line segment UV and WX. When you observe, these line segments appear to be equal. So now we will use the method of tracing. Tracing is done using a tracing paper. So first you will place the tracing paper over the line segment UV. You will trace this line segment on the paper and then you will place the paper above WX. So while you are using the method of tracing, you have to be very accurate while tracing the line segment. The other method to compare two line segments is by measuring those line segments. Now as discussed earlier, we can measure the line segment using a ruler or by divider. So you have three ways to compare line segments, that are by observation. Observation is used only when the line segments appear with a vast difference of the length. Second is by tracing and third is by measuring. Now let's learn about a ray. A ray is also part of a line with one fixed end. The fixed end is known as the initial point. A ray can be extended endlessly in one direction. Now since it can be extended endlessly, it is difficult to measure a ray. Now when you are naming a ray, you have to be very careful about the order. That is, first you will write the name of the initial point followed by the other end. Now what is a plane? A plane is a flat surface that extends indefinitely. So here I can say that this green board is a plane, right? A plane has no length, no width and no thickness. It is also known as a two-dimensional figure or a 2D figure. Now how is a plane represented? A plane is represented by 3 or more non-collinear points. So here we have 3 non-collinear points, that is point X, point Y and point Z. So I can say that point X, point Y and point Z represent a plane XYZ. Now let's learn about angles. Now what is an angle? An angle is formed when 2 line segments or 2 rays have a common starting point. This common starting point is known as the vertex of the angle. So here O is the vertex of the angles and the 2 rays, for example here ray OA and ray OB are known as the arms of the angles. Now how do you name these angles? We can name the angles in any order, that is angle AOB or angle BOA. Now did you notice I have written the name of the vertex in the center? Yes, so while naming the angle, the order can be up to you, but you have to be careful that you have to mention the name of the vertex in the center. You can also name the angle only by using the name of the vertex. For example, I can name this angle as angle O. Now what are interior and exterior of the angles? Interior of the angle is formed by the area enclosed by the arms of the angles. The interior can exceed or extend endlessly up to the point the rays of the angles are extended. Now what is the exterior of the angle? Exterior of the angle is the area outside the arms of the angle. Now what is magnitude of an angle? The magnitude of an angle is equal to the measure of an angle. So the rotation between OA and OB represents the magnitude of the angle AOB. Now as the ray OA moves away from OB, the magnitude of this angle increases and the magnitude does not depend upon the length of the rays. Now what happens when OA takes one complete round? So one complete turn is equal to 360 equal parts and each part is equal to 1 degree. So when an angle completes one complete rotation, that means it has completed 360 degree. The angles are measured in terms of degree. Now how do you measure an angle? We measure an angle using a protractor, right? You have already learned about how to measure an angle using a protractor in grade 5. Yes, a protractor has 2 scales, the outer scale and the inner scale. Now let's revise how to measure an angle using a protractor. So first I will place the baseline upon the ray OA in such a way that the center of the protractor lies upon the vertex, right? Now I will note where the second ray lies upon the protractor, right? So according to this, the protractor is lying upon 65 degrees. So the measure of the angle AOB will be 65 degree. Now to compare 2 line segments, the length was the factor to be observed, right? Now to compare 2 angles, we observe the measure of the magnitude of the angle. Now to compare 2 angles, we use the same methods of comparison as we use in the line segments, that is method of observation, method of tracing and the method of measuring. Let's learn about the method of observation. Here I have a pair of angles, that is angle LMN and angle UVW. Now when we observe, we notice that the magnitude of the 2 angles are very different. So by observation I can say that angle LMN is greater than angle UVW. Now notice the second pair of angles, that is angle XYZ and angle AOB. So when you observe these 2 angles, do they appear similar? Right. So when the angles appear to be similar, we use the method of tracing or measuring. Now how do we use the method of tracing? We will first place the tracing paper upon the first angle and we will trace that upon the paper. Then you will place the paper upon the second angle and compare which angle is greater. Now for measuring an angle, we know that we can measure an angle using a protractor and then you can decide which angle is greater. You all know about the types of angles, right? Let's revise them. First is a right angle, that is the measure of angle is equal to 90 degrees. Next, a straight angle, that is the measure of angle is equal to 180 degree. Third, a complete angle, that is the measure of the angle is equal to 360 degree. Now what is an acute angle? That is the measure of the angle is more than 0 degree but less than 90 degrees. Reflex angle, the measure of the angle is more than 90 degree and less than 180 degree. Now what is an obtuse angle? That is, the measure of the angle is more than 180 degree but less than 360 degree. There is another type of angle which is known as the zero angle. That is, the measure of the angle is equal to 0 degree. That is, the arms of the angle coincide with each other. So total there are 7 types of angles. Now let's learn about angles in terms of revolution. So when the hands of the clock move from one position to the another, they turn through an angle, right? So when the hand takes one complete turn, it is known as one revolution. So here, the hand of the clock, that is the minutes hand, is at 3, right? Now when I move from 3 to 6, that means it has taken the 1/4 turn. So we will term it as 1/4 of the revolution. And how much angle did it cover? Notice it is from 3 to 6. It covered 90 degrees. So we can also say that 90 degrees is equal to the 1/4 of a revolution in a clock. Now let's learn about angles in terms of direction. So there are 4 main directions: north, south, east and west. So when I move from one direction to the another, I am moving through an angle. Now assume that I am at north position, right, and have to go towards south in a clockwise direction. So I have moved from north to south. I have taken half of the revolution, or I have moved through a straight angle. So I write it as half of a revolution, which is also equal to 180 degrees. Now what are curves? A curve is formed without lifting the pencil or without a specific measurement. There are 2 types of curves: simple curve and complex curve. Now what are simple curves? The curves that do not cross themselves are known as simple curves. So here you can see that there are 2 curves and they are not crossing themselves. Now what are complex curves? Complex curve is the opposite of simple curve, that is, they cross themselves. So here you can see that this is a curve and they are crossing themselves at this point, and here it is crossing at this point. Now what are open and closed figures? So the figures that do not have the same start and end point are known as open figures. Now what are closed figures? The figures that have same start and end point are known as closed figures. Now the simple curves that form closed figures are known as simple closed curves. Now a closed figure has 3 parts, that is the interior, exterior and boundary of the figure. So here I have a closed figure. So here A is the interior, that is, it lies within the boundary of the figure. B is on the boundary of the figure and C denotes the exterior of this figure. Now the combination of the interior and boundary of the figure together make the region of the figure. Now what are curvilinear boundaries and linear boundaries? Now curvilinear means curved line. So the boundary of a closed figure which only have curves are known as curvilinear boundaries. Now what are linear boundaries? Linear means straight. So the boundary of a closed figure with only straight lines are known as linear boundaries. So students, in today's class we learned about a point and 2 types of point, that are collinear and non-collinear points. Collinear points are 3 or more points lying on a straight line, and non-collinear point means 3 or more points which do not lie on a straight line. Next we learn about what is a line and 4 types of lines, that are intersecting lines, parallel lines, perpendicular lines and concurrent lines, right? Next we learned about the part of a line, that is a line segment and a ray. We also learned how to measure and compare the line segments. The 3 ways to compare a line segment are the method of observation, by the method of tracing and by the method of measuring. Next we learned about a plane, and we learned that a plane can be represented by 3 or more non-collinear points. Next we learned about angles, and under angles we learned about interior and exterior of an angle, magnitude of an angle, which is also known as measure of an angle, types of an angles, that there are 7 types of an angle, and you learn about a new type, that is the zero angle, where the measure of the angle is equal to 0 degree. Last week we learned how to measure and compare the angles. The method of comparison is similar to the method of comparison of line segments. And last we learned about curves, and under curves we learned about simple and complex curves, open and closed figures, and curvilinear and linear boundaries. Thank you.